Lemieux. He's assisted by George LaPlante and Keith Hansen. Lemieux taking over after the 1992 Olympic Games. How about for the United States? It's been an ever-changing lineup for head coach Fred Sturm. Today's six, Dan Landry. From UCLA, Duncan Blackman, formerly of Stanford, will start outside. Jeff Nygaard is in the middle, along with former Pepperdine star Tom Sorensen. Dexter Rogers, who came of age, last time we saw him against Brazil, had 34 kills. He is the opposite. And 6'8" Loy Ball, the son of a coach, tall, talented, physical, and energetic. He will be ready to go today. Fred Sturm wearing sunglasses, as most of the coaches and players will be, in his fourth year. Fred guided the United States to a bronze in 1992. Our officials, second referee from Canada is Dave Inslee, and one of the most famous referees in America will be up top. His name is Mario Trebic. There's Mario. Even Mario wearing the hat today. So we expect hot and humid weather. It's a little overcast right now. Perfect for outdoor volleyball, Kirk.
Luckily there is clouds, because it could have been real hot if the sun breaks through. It will be a hot one.
Canada in white, United States in navy. Loy Ball, quick set, Nygaard, and Canada has it. Ball, back set to Rogers. Canada with it left side. And the put away. Nice shot by number 11, Andy Cameron. He's 6'6", from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Young team, the Canadians, they're playing a lot of different players, Chris. They're going to see what they have.
1-0 is our score. And here comes number 15, Jason Haldane. Big serve. Rogers goes and gets it. The United States appearing to get off to a slow start. Canada on the move. Left side. And the put away. So the second kill for Andy Cameron.
Dan Landry had the right idea that time. He took away the cross court. Just blocked it out of bounds, though.
Haldane with the jumper. Loy Ball goes and gets it, whips it left side to Rogers, who cranks it. Dexter Rogers, he was a 4-year basketball starter at Westmar University in a place called Lamar's, Iowa.
Well, look at his lift. Goes up over the block. Great jumper.
Yeah, he has turned into an excellent volleyball player, as the United States trying to score a point. And the Americans do. So the Americans get a point. Ball hit out of bounds.
Canadians thought there was a touch. I thought there was at first, but don't think he got it.
So Greaves and Sandheim going, wait a second, where's the touch?
And Nygaard saying no touch.
American official Mario Trebic going for his yellow card. The referee going to issue the card that Bob Samuelson made famous, the yellow. So Mario's given the yellow, and
one will be red no matter who does it. This is for the team.
Very clear.
Team yellow. That was
team yellow. And next one is a red.
That means any yellow card by anybody is a red card.
We told you Mario Trebic is infamous. He's not going to take a lot of gunk. Little off speed, that's out of bounds, and the Americans have tied it up 2-2.
Mario Trebic, assistant coach for the Netherlands in the Olympics in Barcelona. He doesn't take guff from anybody.
Of course, that team coached by the legendary Ari Sellinger, who led the American women to the silver medal back in 1984, and then, of course, the Dutch to the silver in 1992. This is just game one, the start of our action here on Prime. Glad you're with us. Americans in blue, Canada in white. Pretty evenly matched team so far.
A nice hit by Gingera. Trap set, Chris. Really was not up in the air. Nice save.
Is it dangerous to play with sunglasses on indoors?
Oh, I don't think so. You could get face ball. That's certainly blocking. You could have some hurt there. Nice save by Gingera, as you see it again. He really does a nice job. He's a good hitter.
Out of the back line, Sorensen taps it. Landry goes and gets it. Canada trying to take the lead. Greaves, back set, Gingera got it. So Randy Gingera gets a kill. He had a great year in Belgium this year. Said he had a better year last year, or he made it this year. He said they wouldn't let him bring his girlfriend to Belgium this year. So Gingera...
They get back to that, none of your girlfriend if you're going to play, or what?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't have gone to Italy if that was the case, that's for sure.
Don't want to go there. Dexter Rogers serving, 3-2. Ace for Rogers.
Chris, talk about where you want that serve to go.
Oh, wait a second.
Wait.
I think they called a foot fault, maybe.
Well, that ball was in by 2 feet,
wow.
I think.
Mario Trebic making the makeup call. And He says it was out.
He was wrong.
Appeared to be in, but you never know. 3-2 is our score.
I'll say he was wrong.
Left side, Duncan Blackman stop. Kent Greaves is 6'6", very tall for a setter. You like to have those tall setters because they can block.
That's deceptive. He doesn't look that big, but there's a lot of big guys on this Canadian team now.
4-2, Canada now leads and make it with the ace, 5-2. So Canada's jump serving, getting the United States in some trouble, and a timeout called. So the Banana Boat Summer Series, this is match 4, game 1. Canada leads it. Discussion with the referee.
Goes back to that yellow card he gave to the team is what he's talking about.
The referee shows. I don't want anybody to get involved in
that big man is Russ Paddock. He is the captain for Canada, the only man that is allowed to officially talk. And of course, Clement Lemieux saying, get over there and find out what is this guy talking about. So Canada has the lead 5-2 in game 1. Serving number 11, Andy Cameron. He's played very well so far. Lloyd ball, left side. Blackman dug back. Nice defense in the backcourt. That was Cameron Nygaard. Canada for point number 6. They're confused and they get stuck. Ball and Nygaard, 6'8", 6'8".
Talking about those young players. There they are together. Good block. Move to the outside. Get up and over. That's a big wall.
Here's Jeff Nygaard. He's going to float serve. And once again, the quick set.
Chris, we call that wall, the two blockers, the Great Wall of the Midwest, or what?
Maybe.
Again, quick set, they go up, keep going to the quick, and getting away with it in the middle. U.S. will have to take that away.
Perfect pass. Ball tries to dump it. Canada's on it. 5-2, looking to be 6-2. Not yet. And the ball waffled out of bounds. Maybe a play like that separates Canada from really a top team in the world.
I think so. The Brazilians had crushed that ball. Canadians hit it out. And that's the same problem the U.S. has, those off plays. They have to get much better at it also.
Here's Duncan Blackman. Back set, Gingera into the net. One thing with this current lineup of Americans, all jump servers, Kirk, they all have the ability to rack up hard jump servers.
Well, I think a couple of guys don't do that. They let them stop because you don't want everybody to jump serve, Chris. You need to mix it up.
Yeah, right, Ken.
And it's off the block, out of bounds. You know, I think a lot of people would disagree with you, Kirk. If the jump serve is so good and it scores points, why couldn't everybody use it?
Well, I think they can, but I think every player, if they're off, they need another serve. They need to go to a floater every once in a while just to change the pace.
Perfect pass. Sorensen is done. It's 5-3 Canada, looking to be 6. Gingera smokes it.
Maybe the Brazilians, who are jump serve city, have a couple float guys in there just to break it up, give a different look to the passers.
There's Gingera. Gingera not that big, but he can really jump. 6'5", and it's into the net. So the United States will have the ball. And now Tom Sorensen coming off a couple of good weeks of practice. Back set, Gingera, dug by Ball. Quick set into the middle. Sorensen puts it away.
Sorensen was telling me he's hitting mostly down the pipe. That was the ball he just hit. And he was saying that with the wind outdoors, it's easier down the pipe because you can adjust as opposed to the D area, which would be behind the setter. Good hit by Sorensen.
United States pulls to within 2, 6-4. Another serving, the 6th service error for the United States in game 1. Canada has 4.
Jump serve, a little bit high risk. But outdoors, that ball, it's an indoor ball, and it does move around more.
Here's a serve by Canada. It's Jason Haldane and Sorensen again. So Lloyd ball to Tom Sorensen. Another Midwest combination. Sorensen from Racine, Wisconsin gives the ball to Dan Landry, who came originally from Manila in the Philippines. Sent a tape to Al Skates, the head coach of UCLA, and Skates said, hey, this guy can play. So he came up and started 4 years at UCLA. Greaves and the put away. So UCLA's Jeff Nygaard missing that block. Sandheim gets the kill. 6-4. Canada leads by 2. Game 1. Best 3 out of 5. Gingera. Ball left side. Blackman. Not yet. Ball back set. Rogers. One thing about Rogers, he doesn't need a big, long approach, does he?
Oh, in fact, he had almost no approach that time. He passed the ball close to the net, backed up, and then jumped 1 foot takeoff and put it away.
Dexter Rogers, we talked about his basketball prowess, an NAIA All-American. Only been playing volleyball for about 3 years.
Amazing. I think this year he's made huge strides becoming a world-class player. That's important, Chris. African-American, some of the younger players can look up to and get into the game.
There have not been a lot of African Americans involved in USA national team volleyball, or for that matter, at the collegiate level.
Well, really, there's nobody for him to emulate. There's been no players really out there to emulate and to say, hey, I can play this game. It's a great game.
Big hit on the left side. Bruce Edwards, who's replacing Steve Smith in the starting lineup today. Edwards with good heat. And that makes a point. His second kill, 7-4 Canada. Game 1. Boy ball, and Rogers off the head of one of the Canadian blockers, and that's where you got to worry about having the sunglasses on.
Exactly. I wouldn't like to get one straight in the face.
No.
And we all have blocking.
Not straight in the nose piece of your glasses.
Well, you never got one straight in the face. You didn't get your head up that high, did you?
No.
Okay.
You don't want to have your head over the net. That can be very dangerous to your looks and your profile.
I did get a few of those nose balls.
You sure did. Greaves. Gingera dug by Nygaard, but it's going out of bounds.
That's a ball you want to teach players to drag straight up in the air to your side so you can play. Don't want to dig it over the net.
Here we go. Hey, 10-6.
Serving is number 3, Keith Sandheim. He's 6'7" from Oak Bank, Manitoba. Rogers got it again. So Dexter Rogers, 6 kills so far in game 1. His career high was set just a few weeks ago against Brazil in San Diego, California, 34. A night to remember. Now he's been in the starting lineup, much like Steve Timmons did back in the 80s.
Very comparable, I think, in how they came onto the scene.
Absolutely. Fast.
Very fast. But it's been around a while, just not making much difference, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, well, I think Steve Timmons had a little more experience when he burst on the scene.
Here's Kent Greaves wearing the goggles. And a bad pass by the Americans. Bad set by the Americans. And a bad hit by the Americans. That's not how you do it. And Landry takes his sunglasses and fires him off the sideline. So Landry says, I got to see it a little better. I want the sponsor to know about those. Just kick him out of there. Good pass, Blackman over to Landry, and Landry puts it away.
That ball set off the net, though. He's got to get that shoot set a little closer, but Landry hits that ball off the net well.
So number 1 in blue, Loy Ball. They say he jumps 11-7 overall. But the big joke on the national team, yeah, Lloyd jumps 11-7, but he reaches 11 feet. He's not a great leaper. Good athlete, but not a tremendous leaper.
Well, and really, he doesn't have to be. At 6'8", as a setter, if he can just get up and do the job, he'll block some balls.
There's ball number 1. Who used to wear number 1 for the United States? How about Dusty Dvorak back in the 80s?
Great player to emulate. If you want to be like someone, be Dusty Dvorak or Jeff Stork, I guess, would be the 2 you'd look at.
How come guys wore your number, number 13, like guys like Pat Powers and one of the Menendez brothers? And no,
I like Nygaard out there with 13 on.
All right.
Well, Powers is good company. I don't mind having his name mentioned as 13.
Okay. So trying to towel off. It is hot and humid now, and the sun is starting to come out. So
yeah, I feel it. If you get your hat, you're looking styling.
Yes, thank you very much. That's over the net. It's coming for a point, and it is. So Canada getting the advantage with tough jump serve.
And the ball control of the USA costing them most of their points.
The United States trying to shore up its ball control. Head coach Fred Stern, one of his goals is to find big players that can control the ball.
Well, and if a ball control stays off, we can look for Dwayne Cameron possibly to come in. Someone else, Scott Metcalf, a new name on the scene who's been playing well.
9-4 is our score. Dan Landry to serve. There's head coach Fred Stern. His assistants Rudy Sewell, Rod Wild, Eric Daly.
There's a difference. Bad pass by Canada up at the net. I mean, not a terrible pass, but Greaves, an experienced setter, makes a good set to the middle. Ball put away.
So Randy Gingera to take off.
13-10. That's back.
Literally. Played in Belgium last year. Loy Ball goes and gets it. Over to Rogers. Sorensen. And it's rejected. So far, the American outside hitters, Landry and Blackman, having a tough time passing and hitting. Timeout called Game one, Canada all over the United States, 10-4. Fred Sturm choosing not to bring Brian Ivey, who is at home with biceps tendonitis and impingement in his hitting arm, and choosing to leave Dan Greenbaum, the starting setter. I asked Fred about that, and he said, hey, we're 0-12. We've got to try something different.
And I think he's right. I think he has to look at the young setters.
Yeah.
See who's going to do the job.
Great opportunity for Lloyd Ball and Jason Stimfig, the two setters for the United States, to get in some action.
Well, I think really Jason Stimfig is there looking at the Eric Sato position, certainly, and he's good. Things happen when he's on the floor. That's what Fred Sturm has told me.
Dexter Rogers will serve. 10-4, Canada leading the United States so far. We're going to see a lot of floor wiping today because hot and humid conditions in Brookline, Massachusetts.
Well, but I do like it out here. Isn't it nice, Chris?
Oh, yeah, it's terrific. Gingera over the top, and the United States.
Well, that's lucky. They stopped playing. You can't do that. Nobody called it, but Mario Trevich believed them.
I tell you what, we've gotten a couple of questionable calls already, and Lloyd Ball just said it. Don't stop. Keep playing. Dexter Rogers serving 10-5. Greaves, Gingera, see ya. And Dan Landry must be having trouble seeing the ball because that's about the fourth ball right to him.
In his hands.
Yeah, he's just missing it. He took off his sunglasses. And
about one more of those, we may see another player in there.
That's right. Might have to put him back on. Here comes number 11. And the ace. Was it good? Cameron, yes.
Boy, Cameron doing a nice job serving. Going cross court mostly with his jumper into that corner right at Dexter Rogers, not known for his passing.
Cameron again, and he just missed it.
You'll take that. One ace for one out. That's a point.
So Jeff Nygaard, size, good ball handler, all-around skills.
He can jump serve also, not using it now. Maybe the heat.
Greaves, and it's off the top, outside, Bruce Edwards. So far, Steve Smith, who expected to start, who leads the team in 3 games with 67 kills, has not been needed yet.
Of course, they've lost 2 matches with him in there. Maybe he's looking for chemistry. It's a young team. Chemistry is a lot of how you win, Chris.
11-5. Sorensen puts it straight down. It's out of bounds, and Canada gets another point. 12-5, Canada leading the United States. This is the Banana Boat Summer Series. The United States falling behind 12-5. And Fred Sturm has gone to the bench, and he's brought in Scott Metcalf, who's been playing very well. Rogers, Canada and White has been playing brilliantly so far. Dink, and the put away. Number 7 again, Bruce Edwards.
Well, and you see the difference in this game, Chris. Canadians picking up those balls off the block, the U.S. team. That's a good block. Somebody has to pick that ball up to be played.
There's Metcalf. He's 24 years old, originally from Silver Springs, Maryland. Good receiver. Normally, Blackman, and Canada right there. Canada looking like Brazil right now. Put away. Left side, Bruce Edwards. 14-5.
Playing an off blocker, rotate that time. Tip's not going to work. They're bringing their off blocker around behind the block.
First game point for Canada. Sorensen, Canada has it up. Greaves, left side, Edwards. Got it! So Bruce Edwards, he's getting the start today, number 7, and replacing superstar Steve Smith. He looked great in game 1. It amused Canadians all over the Americans, 15-5.
There it is, the ball's dug, he goes up, just pounds the ball off a block. Nygaard touches it, was touched by the block, he had to go after the dig. That's the game.
We'll continue with our facts game stats. Canada winning the war at the net.
But they really are, Chris, no surprise, 2-0. 40-29 in kills. That's a huge difference. 19-7 in digs, a big difference. Too many hitting errors for the U.S., although Canada has more. Theirs have been better placed, I think.
The name to know is Rico. Back at the Longwood Cricket Club, Chris Marlowe and Kurt Kilgore. Canada thumping the United States so far, 2 games to none.
Definitely not cricket out here for the U.S. team.
No, it's more like wicket. The United States stuck, not playing well. The Americans are in blue, Canada in white. See how the Americans come out for game 3. It's the best 3 out of 5. This is the Banana Boat Summer Series. And Kirk, you and I were talking during the break. You think the United States could come out and win this game?
Well, I think they will. They have to, Chris. These guys have pride. They're young. They want to win, and they want to set that precedence. They don't want to go down 3-0.
Kent Greaves has been very, very good so far as the Americans are into the net. Side out Canada.
When I see a ball, I do like his attitude, you know, Chris. Saw him on the sideline. He didn't like what he was doing there. He didn't like the fact the team was losing. I like that in a player.
Serving is big Russ Paddock, who's now into the lineup. Paddock, 27 years old, from Manitoba. Hilliard. And Ball puts it away. Loy Ball, active. He was once recruited by Bobby Knight as a basketball player, but chose to play for his father at Indiana Purdue Fort Wayne as a volleyball player.
What a nice turnaround. He's a natural right-hander, gets that ball up in front of him, goes across his body.
Gingera, and Gingera puts it away. Randy Gingera.
Chris, the difference in this match is digging. You saw right there, Brent Hilliard, he's got to dig that ball right in his hands. You got to dig it up and make a play.
Canada leading the match, 2-0. The Americans leading here in game 3. Good serve.
The other difference in the
chance for a Canada point. And reaching out, Andy Cameron. That was not very good.
Yeah, serving has been such a big part of Canada's game in this match. Goes up, Gingera just smacks the ball. Again, trouble for the USA, but they get a break.
United States 27-17 against Canada since 1983. Metcalf, a lot of dinking going on for the United States. They need someone to rip it. Hilliard off speed.
Wow. Yeah, Canadians all of a sudden a little let down. They didn't make any errors hardly in the first 2 games. Now they've made 2 in game 3.
That's a rally that'll make fans start playing soccer. Here's Dwayne Cameron with the serve. 2-0. United States leading. Americans can get a point right here. Hilliard, yeah! Brent Hilliard. And the fans come to life.
You play outside like this, and you don't hear the snap when the guys hit the ball. It's sort of dead, at least for the U.S. team.
Do you think it's the conditions, the hot and muggy conditions, or perhaps the floor a little tenuous, or what?
I'm not sure. I think it may be the combination of the setting, new setter, and just not having a real comfortable feel for Loy Ball's setting. He's not doing a bad job, but the ball is moving around a bit.
Here's Andy Cameron, 24 years old, is the United States leading here in game 3 by 3. Loy Ball, slam dunk. So Loy Ball from Woodburn, Indiana, 22 years old, his 3rd kill.
Natural right-hander, goes up with his left hand, just slams it down.
He's got a great jump serve when he gets it in. And he aces.
A little eased up a little bit on that, and the bottom just drops right out of it.
So now let's see if Loy goes and crushes one. If you're wondering, Loy, it's not Lloyd, L-L-O-Y. His father, Arnie, very fine coach at IPFW. And the United States gets another point. Timeout, Canada.
Metcalf getting the crowd going.
Talking to his young setter, Loy Ball. Ball, a very emotional player, and he and Scott Metcalf have this American group more fired up.
Well, I like the attitude that they bring to the court. You like to see that. As long as you can control it when things are going well. Sometimes they get out of control.
There's Loy Ball.
And you know, Chris, the big difference in him from last year is the weight he put on. He hit the weight room religiously last year, and it's really made a big difference in his stature on the floor.
Loy Ball, the Americans leading 5-0. Game 3. So far, Canada looked very good in the first 2 games.
U.S. has some other good young setters. Kenyon Seaman is one at Stanford you talked about. And they got somebody. They have to find somebody now.
Somebody soon. Serving will be Keith Sandheim. He's played very well today. Quick set, Sorensen.
And it may well be Dan Greenbaum, who's not here, but they have to find out. I'm not sure, though.
Well, the coaches are talking about Loy Ball challenging Dan Greenbaum for the starting job, and with sets like that to Sorensen. Just remember, Loy Ball has only been in camp for 3 weeks.
And you have to like what he does so far. I mean, the set's a little inconsistent.
Gingera gets one. One thing the United States has not done well today is block the ball.
They have not blocked enough, and they have a big team on the floor.
Hey, let's go. Go here, guys. 13-7-3.
The United States only has 1 team block.
Well, and you're going to lose a lot of matches with blocking because they're not a great digging team, as we have seen.
That's it. Metcalf is stuck.
They should not be outblocked by this Canadian team overall. But right now they are being outblocked and outdug, and that's a bad combination. Block goes up, seals off the line.
That ball out of bounds. Of course, According to the coaches, the Americans coming into this tour playing a little bit better.
I think they've been saying they're playing more together as a group so far. They got a better group right now as far as getting along, just the whole team working together, and that's what they need.
Over the top. Lloyd Ball. And Ball with the jam. And the put away. Andy Cameron gets the shot.
Sets up high, goes outside. Ball gets a good swing at it. He can swing when he gets his chance. Goes up, jousted the net, won ultimately by the Canadians.
United States by 4. Sorensen out of the middle, blocked. Was it in? Out of bounds.
Right in front of us, Chris. Looked out to me. Well, apparently he overruled him. Well, the replays have held up Mario Trevich's calls so far in this match.
5-2, the United States.
Good thing I'm not up there, huh?
One thing about Mario Trevich, the first referee, is one of the few officials in volleyball that doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah. Was that the comment on the eyesight of the U.S.?
Now about his judgment is something else. Here's Jeff Nygaard. Good serve. And the left. USA assistant coach Rudy Sawara said when Lloyd Ball and Jeff Nygaard joined the team, he said, I immediately became a better blocking coach. We got 2 6'8" guys into the lineup.
That does help. And Lloyd Ball blocked 6 in the last match these two teams played.
Yeah, that's a lot. He has the potential to develop into the best blocking setter the United States certainly has ever had.
I would think maybe Dusty. You know, it's surprising in that Dusty was a real good blocker for his size. And Stork certainly was an outside hitter, too, so he was a great blocker.
Hilliard. Metcalf goes and gets it. Nice play. Shoot out of bounds.
And that's what you can't do. You're not going to ace them. You just got to get the ball in. Hope your block takes care of it. That's the trouble. They're making some digs, and when they have the chance, you just can't do those shoot-type plays. You have to get it up. Great cover. You have to take advantage of that. Keep the ball in. Make the other team make a play.
6-3 is our score. Canada leads the match 2-0. Americans playing better here in Game 3. Chris Marlowe, Kirk Kilgore from Brookline, Massachusetts. Cameron puts it straight down. Remember, we came from Brookline last year, and we were dewed out. Sorensen will serve. And Greaves tries to shoot it over. 7-3.
Setters don't mind if the hitter puts it away if he sets it.
And that serve is out of bounds.
Every time the U.S. starts to get a little bit of a run going, they make an error. Does that seems like what I'm seeing here, and they have to stop that.
Well, they say a baseball travels farther in hot and humid weather. Perhaps the volleyball, the same thing. You have to be a little more careful serving-wise. Lloyd Ball sets left side, and Hilliard is dug down the line. Edwards can't get there.
Well, you know, Hilliard's not hitting like he can hit. I think he's still not near 100%. A lot of off-speed hits, and
there's really only been,
difference.
Kirk, a couple of guys that have really teed off. Edwards a couple of times, Gingera a couple of times, Sorensen a couple of times.
Well, certainly the sound of the game is different out here. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Doesn't echo as much.
There's a lot of pops, but not a lot of pows.
Yeah.
However, the United States will take some pops as they lead 8-3 in a substitution now. Coming in for the first time today, Mike Chalupka. He's 6'6" from Mississauga, Ontario, 21 years old. Good-looking young player.
Well put together, solid.
Big and strong, number 8, Mike Chalupka. See if they go to him right off. Greaves, whip it to Chalupka. Not yet. Greaves, whip it to Chalupka. Not yet. Americans can score a point. Set to Cameron. Out of the middle. And the United States playing defense.
Best rally of the match so far.
Cameron blocks.
You know, Chris, you can't end a rally with a tip. It's not going to work. You have to get up and sting that ball. Great digging by both teams here. Probably the best rally of the match so far.
Canada with the serve. It's Paddock, and he... Oh, my gosh.
We're in the USA.
Was that out?
It was overruled. Good overrule that time by both officials.
I'll tell you, the linesmen are missing a good game here because this one was in.
Yeah, that was in by a good foot. We have it right in front of us.
8-4 now.
Hey, you're supposed to have a home court advantage, aren't you?
Yes, sir. And one of the sets we were talking about veering off a bit from the net.
Well, I think it's important to get Cameron more involved in the offense outside with the shoot set. The middle's working a little better. That's when you go to your outside guys.
Here's Jeff Nygaard. Americans lead 8-4. Must-win game for the United States. Left side, it's out of bounds. So Canada suddenly sputtering a bit.
Well, it goes to serving. Good serve by Nygaard. Puts the Canadians in trouble. USA takes advantage of it.
9-4 as Nygaard serves. And he got an ace. Andy Cameron couldn't get out of the way. A 90-mile-an-hour jump serve. The Americans taking it to Canada here in Game 3. Using the Bud Light player of the match in this one. Early on, it was Edwards. Bruce Edwards for Canada, but now some of the Americans coming on. One of them certainly is Lloyd Ball, who has fired up the United States attack.
Well, you know, Chris, I like what he says here. It's really good. He makes a mistake. He should block this ball. He doesn't. And he yelled at him. He was mad at himself, and I like that in a player.
10-4 the United States. Number 11 is Andy Cameron. Nygaard tippy-toe. And off the block, out of bounds. Bruce Edwards, the Canadian candidate for the Bud Light player of the match. He has 16 kills, and we're midway through Game 3.
Having a bid match so far. He's the one that's kept them in this game and led them in games 1 and 2.
Oh, is he up there?
That's the perfect pass. He has a choice. He's a big guy. Nobody's going to stop that play. Nobody I know in the world right now. I'd like a kill now and then.
Chalupka. Oh, what a play. Cameron. It's dug up again. 10-5 United States. Greaves, quick set, put away.
But the U.S. showing much more signs of coming alive, making good plays, playing some defense. Very encouraging.
You can always tell there's a word in volleyball. They call it groveling, getting down and digging plays and having it go off your head and sliding.
Goes down on this one. Good play. They keep it alive. That's what you have to do. Keep the play alive. Good things will happen.
Lloyd Ball off the net. Hilliard, it's put up. Edwards, yes. Bruce Edwards terminates with Kilgore-esque power. How fast did you hit the ball? How hard?
The highest I was trying for is about 117.
Right.
So it was back a long time ago, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, so nobody hits the ball 117 miles an hour anymore. Why? Because Kirk Kilgore retired.
There have been some guys close, certainly. Pat Powers comes to name.
That's
Hit
right.
more of a heavy ball, probably, than I did. I snapped a little more. Timmons at his peak probably brought it home as well as anybody.
You know, every time I hear you tell that story, it's like up a couple miles an hour.
I
The first started telling that story about 10 years ago, it was 100 miles an hour.
Luckily, nobody ever saw me play this thing now, so.
Chris Marlowe and Kirk Kilgore, we've got a pretty good match going. Canada won the first 2 games. United States coming on, though.
Yeah, they are, and they're playing much better, much more aggressive volleyball.
Metcalf with the serve, and it's out of bounds. The United States serving game racks up its 13th error. Canada also has 13, so about even in that.
Canada has a lot more aces, though, Chris.
They certainly do. Aces 8-4. Americans catching up just a bit.
And most of those this game for the U.S. team.
Back set, Hilliard rejected. Good block. I think it was Cameron, number 11 in white, who stuffed it. That's the way you like to block him, turning back into the court. 10-7 now as Canada climbs to within 3.
Crucial time in the match for the U.S. team.
Trouble, ball, saves it for Nygaard, speared up by Greaves. Scoop it to Cameron, blocked, and the sets to the outside are just too low. Timeout, United States. So the United States getting blocked a bit, having some trouble with some low sets. We're coming back. Canada is climbed to within 2. Cameron for the United States, number 14 in blue, made a marvelous play.
They really did. He gets his ball up, puts a shovel out, gets his coal miner's card here, Chris. He's now in the Union.
Poking it over the United States ultimately did not win the point, but a sign of life for the United States. Canada won the first 2. United States leading here in Game 3, but Canada getting some momentum. And it's into the antenna. This is outdoor volleyball, part of the Banana Boat Summer Series. The United States and Canada already have battled in Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, and St. Louis, Missouri. The Americans leading the series 2-1. And here comes Dexter Rogers, crowd favorite. Hilliard has been mildly effective, and he will sit down, and Dexter Rogers, who started the match, now back in.
They did have some success early in game 1.
Rogers spin it up an ace.
And a little bit of success when he comes in here in game 3.
So an excellent substitution. Rogers off the bench with the ace.
Big point, Chris.
Very dynamic volleyball player.
When you realize how little time he's actually spent playing volleyball, he's making huge leaps almost daily.
He's actually a pretty polished defensive player, too. He makes some nice digs in the backcourt. Got a great jump serve.
He's a good athlete, and that's where it shows.
Russ Paddock thumps it down.
Good decision by Greaves that time to go to that back quick set.
So Paddock will serve. Canada, of course, wants to play that fast tempo. I was told that beach volleyball is growing in Canada now. They've started some professional tournaments. They've got a tour up there where you can make $7,500 in a tournament. Greaves, left side, that's tight. And Sorensen misses the easiest dig of his entire career. Ball floating up in the middle of the court. Might have been wet, but still an easy one.
You have to dig that ball. That's the fourth time I said that, I think.
Yes, you did. Russ Paddock serving. 6'7", 27. Rogers, Doug, score! Canada's Kent Greaves wasn't sure if he was going to play today. They said if it was sunny, number 4 in white wouldn't play. If it was too hot, he wouldn't play, but he makes a spectacular dig.
Well, he gets up there, great play over the net. Nobody reacts for the USA. They think it's down, they don't react.
Kent Greaves with his 8th dig, so he is moving on Bud Light territory. 11-10 now. Canada, it's out of bounds, and Canada has tied it up in game 3.
Well, and not good serve receive for the USA is starting their troubles.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kurt. If you serve the Americans the float serve, they're in trouble. They can't pass the float serve right now. Pass at the 3-meter line, not good. They whip it to Cameron, and Cameron hits it hard.
They're going after Cameron, too, with that float serve. He was passing the right. He came over to the left. They served right at him.
So Clement Lemieux has his Canadians tied up. Eric Sato comes in. Eric Sato, number 11, he comes in with a score tied at 11. Canada leading the game and the match 2-0. Greaves left side, one-on-one, cutaway. Andy Cameron. Let's check Cameron. He had 12 kills. Canada wins this game. This one is over. And we go on to Indianapolis. The final stop. Then Canada goes on to Finland and Holland for some matches, part of a 22-day tour for them. So this is just the start.
That's a long tour,
yeah.
Here to there. These players put some mileage on.
That frequent flyer racked up. Lloyd Ball with the serve. He's gone all the way at the setting position, and he serves an ace.
Big time for an ace right there.
So Lloyd Ball with his second ace.
Toss is crucial. Gets it right out in front of his arm, jumps in. Good cross-court jump serve.
Off the hand, ball pokes it up. Another dig. The American Sato. Sato off speeds. Canada. Trouble. And the Americans touch the net. Wow.
They just can't put away the long rallies right now, Chris. Anything that goes over the Canadians.
Why is that? Why?
It's ball control. Long rallies are won by ball control teams. The team with better ball control will win the longer rallies.
Now Greaves will serve. He's played very well. Set a good match. Trouble. Big trouble. Free ball. Canada trying to tie it up. They do. Bruce Edwards again.
U.S. needs serve receive here very badly.
12-12 game 3. Canadians are working on number 14, Cameron. Off speed, Chalupka got it up, and the ball hit out of bounds.
Now Dexter Rogers, if he gets his serve on, good rotation for the USA. Dexter Rogers is a strong server. U.S. has a good block up there.
So Rogers will jump in. The ball was blocked. The Americans get a point. That might be a technical foul. The ball is bouncing out of play.
Well, it should be, Chris, without a doubt, should be a technical foul. What they're arguing, if you want to know, they're arguing that he interrupted with a set, but if the ball's any part on your side of the net, you can go after it as a blocker. The thing to look for here is the ball on some part of the USA's court? If it is, he can go after it. It's fair game. Looks like the setter got to it first, so probably would hard to tell.
Tough to tell there. Just need a little part of it. It's 13-12 United States. The Americans can get another point right here. Ball to Cameron. Tight. And it's out of bounds.
Something the USA has to work on, Volleyball especially. Blocking the left side, free ball, he's not getting a good set. Somebody either has to help him or he has to get there and set the ball. Probably the hardest move, wouldn't you say, Chris? Blocking left side?
Yes.
Having to get out, run around, turn around, and make a good set?
Yeah, it's something you need. It's kind of the coordination and the chemistry of the whole deal. Good serve. It's 13-12 United States. Nygaard dug up. Chance for Canadian point. Paddock. No! Rejected by the United States.
Ball Nygaard and Cameron right up at the net that time. Three-man block. Here they are. Comes out of the pipe, out of the back row. All three blockers get over. Stuff that down deep.
Nygaard was there, assisted by Volleyball. The Americans leading 13-12. Bad pass. And Paddock is into the bottom of the net. So the United States now with its first game point. And timeout, Canada. So Canada's coach, Clement Lemieux, he saved his last timeout. And when we come back, the United States will be serving for game 3. And that ball is in. First referee Mario Trebich saying in. Mario has control of this match, definitely.
I think he called it in. Also, there was a net called, so bad argument that time for the U.S. They're not going to change two of their minds.
Canada won the first 2 games. The United States has forged a 2-point lead here. But neither team is playing particularly well. Rogers.
Something the U.S. is doing better is reserve receiving right now. Wait a minute.
Rogers is over the 3-meter line.
Oh,
point Canada.
Good eye by you, Chris. I didn't see that. I was watching the block.
Well, I watched the referee, and he said he was over. I didn't quite see it.
That'll do it.
Let's take another look. Here comes Rogers. He's back this time, and he's blocked. So maybe thinking about his footwork for a moment was Rogers, and we're tied at 14. You have to win by 2, and the Americans will wipe up the court. Canada getting a big lead in game 1, up 10-5, and then pulling away. Winning game 2, 15-10. Game 3, United States up 10-5. But now Canada is caught up, and we're tied at 14. I bet the team that gets the next point will win this, probably.
Amazing. They keep going at Metcalf on the serve. With a floater, and he's putting it right on the money. That's why the U.S. is still in this game, I think.
Here is Dexter Rogers.
Perfect pass. Good set. Crunch out of the middle.
Greaves. Socked up by Metcalf. Chalupka. United States can get a point. Ball to Cameron. Dug by Canada. Trouble there. Horrible play. Left side. Smith, who just got into the front line, is cold, pokes it over. Rogers. Oh, and Canada with a dig. Trying to direct it. Canada goes and gets it. Smith. Rejected. Great play all the way by both teams. Best rallier match. U.S. gets it up. Big stuff play in the middle. Tried by Nygaard. Canada gets it up. Passes it over the net. At the end of the play, good dig, straight down. Boom. The Americans lead 15-14.
Not exactly a teaching video you wanted that, but a good result for the USA.
More like an MTV video on volleyball. Rogers, back set, Chalupka. This could be it. Sealy set, they go to Rogers, and he puts it away. The United States wins game 3. As Mr. Rogers drills it. More coverage coming up. The United States is back in it, trailing 2-1. Game stats. Americans playing better.
Oh, coming back, Chris, they're still being out-hit, but in that game, much better. Aces for the U.S. team in that game was a much improved game. That's why they won it. Served a little tougher, put the ball away. Too many hitting errors for both teams, especially the Canadians.
Rico, the name to know is Rico. Getting ready for Game 4, Chris Marlowe and Kirk Kilgore here at the Longwood Cricket Club, where we're playing international volleyball outside today. Hot and muggy, as you might expect, in July in Massachusetts. Canada comes back with its original starting lineup. Randy Gingera is back in.
Good move.
And serving it up will be Andy Cameron. So the Canadians in white, Americans in blue, and the first play is going to be a point for Canada, 1-0.
We talked about the Canadians going off of Dwayne Cameron, going at Metcalf, and he responded in the end of that game. They went at him again. He missed the pass. Maybe they know something we don't, Chris. I don't know.
I think maybe you jump serve at Metcalf and float serve at Cameron.
I think you're probably right.
I tell you, hit it that hard, you don't have to worry about who it goes to. Back set. Nice dig. That was Metcalf. And Rogers puts it away. Dexter Rogers with his 11th kill. Boy, he swings fast.
He does, and I think right now he's stronger than Brent Hilliard, physically for sure, and putting a little more heat on the ball.
Here is Dexter Rogers. He's 25 years old, 6'3", opposite player, maybe the smallest opposite in the world right now. Usually opposite's a big gomer, about 6'8", as Edwards tools the block.
Wait, isn't everybody now in the volleyball game a big gomer at 6'8"?
Yeah, 21 kills for Edwards. Got to be a big gome to play volleyball.
Or at least jump like one.
Unless you're a setter for the Dutch. Avital Sellinger, maybe the only player in the world under 6 feet. Avital, what, about 5'8"?
Yeah, I think they list him at 6 foot, but he's not anywhere near that. Great setter, though. Moves the ball around, saves a lot of plays.
Yep, very nice. 13, Jeff Nygaard serving. Gingera out of bounds, point, United States.
Of course, you talk about Avital Sellinger being probably the smallest setter. The Dutch also have the biggest setter in the game.
I believe that is Peter Blanchet at about 6'10".
Yeah, I'd say he's at least 6'9".
Nygaard serving. It's 2-1, United States. Ace for Nygaard. So Jeff Nygaard, who's only been with the USA program for a couple of weeks, with his third ace.
Came on strong in Game 3 with his serving, continuing right now.
A lot of high hopes for Nygaard.
But justifiably so.
Could be another point, Sorensen, and the Americans are not there. Good set by Kent Greaves, number 4 in white.
He doesn't look 6'6" to me. They list him at 6'6". I think he's closer to probably to 6'5", but great save either way, Chris.
Greaves has the floater. Right side, Edwards, and Edwards has been unstoppable.
We're thinking that three-man block. You want your line digger to move up behind it because there's really nobody going to hit down there. If they do, you don't want to get it in the face anyway.
Gingera talking to Edwards as Greaves serves. We're tied at 2. Ball, quick set, Sorensen. Nice high set by Ball. Good, well done.
They can see the difference in a good pass right on the net. Big setter Ball right there with his hands up in the air. Sorensen saying, nice set. Or something to that effect.
Dwayne Cameron serving. Tied at 2. Shake pass, point. Cameron, nice serve. Dwayne Cameron went to Marina High School in Huntington Beach, California.
Big chance from Role, Chris, the U.S. not using the jump floater, which I wasn't crazy about anyway. And they've gone away from it. Nobody's serving it now at all. What do you think about that? We hadn't talked much about it, and I think that it wasn't very effective.
I like the jump floater in conjunction with the hard jumper. If you're just going to serve the jump floater all the time, it doesn't work, but you got to mix them up.
Yep. The Brazilians had some trouble with it, then adjusted very nicely, and started passing it right on the money.
Scott Metcalf got the kill. Metcalf with his 6th. And the Americans will have it. There's Metcalf. And here's Loy Ball.
Outside!
Back set, Gingera. Dexter Rogers blocking on him. They whip it over to Cameron. He's rejected. The United States finally got a block. Only the 4th.
Well, they got set up in position. Sorensen gets up and just jams it down. Chrissy pikes perfectly to the center of the court. That's what you have to do.
Sorensen at 6'6", a little small as a middle blocker. So Randy Gingera, who sat out game 3, back in now. Pretty good serve, ball on the run. Rogers. Metcalf, nice play, pulls it out. Rogers. And Rogers whacks it out of bounds.
The one play Rogers doesn't hit especially well. A little bit trouble over his head. Tries to go sharp angle and just doesn't bring it down. Not a lot of big sharp angle hitters anymore.
4-3 as Gingera is into the net.
Could have something to do with all the guys who are 6'8" blockers, but
yeah. 4-3, the Americans by 1. Canadians getting ready for a big jump serve from Metcalf. Reeves, trouble. Oh, the ball is dug. Cameron goes and gets it. Americans front line frozen for a moment. Cameron on this side. 2 Camerons in this game. One for the United States and one for Canada. Number 11 and white Cameron got that one. Good spike.
Talk about the U.S. team being frozen, Chris. A nice dig in the back. You know, they have to talk. They have to communicate. That's what'll make it work. Didn't really get any help out of the back row. Nobody said a word.
They're wiping up the floor, taking their time now. Sun poking through here in Massachusetts. A lot going on here in Massachusetts. The Volleyball Hall of Fame Classic is coming in 1995, and about 5 other events. Good shot, Edwards. This kid is a player. A very, very good player is Edwards. He's only 23 years old, from Edmonton, Alberta.
And a smart hit that time. The ball was a little low. He looked for hands, got him.
Good all-around athletic. And that's an ace. So Andy Cameron got an ace. Timeout called. 5-4. Canada has assumed the lead. Canada's Cameron doing very, very well. You saw his numbers. Playing very well. And the United States' Cameron playing pretty well also, as he gets the hit on the outside. Dwayne Cameron now with 7 kills. 5-4 Canada by 1. Nygaard serving. Nygaard coming along. Came from Madison, Wisconsin. A little different makeup for a USA team than in previous years. Edwards, boy, that was another crummy set, and Edwards, he's just cranking everything.
Yeah, he's in his zone, and Greaves going to him. You like to see a setter do that, too. As a hitter, if you're on, you want the ball, and he's giving it to him.
Remember, Edwards getting the start. Steve Smith not playing much today, and Smith had been the star for Canada, so Canada showing it as a number of good outside hitters. That ball's out of bounds. Point Canada. I think you're talking about Canada. They need money. They need support. They have the athletes. They need to train for a long time with a lot of support.
They have the athletes. They have the training site.
Yeah.
They just need money to support it all. Good players now going to Europe, you know, Chris, and if you don't have the money, they're gone.
Exactly. A lot of the Canadian players opting to go to Europe. Germany, Belgium, Japan, Italy. Now going to be a substitution. Ken Lynch is coming in, number 8, and going out as Dwayne Cameron. So Fred Sturm has to push another button. The physical Ken Lynch is in. 24 years old, out of Malibu, California. He's not a great passer, but he can really whale the ball. Point Canada. So timeout taken. Canada in a commanding spot right now. 2-1 and 8-4. Team leading 2-1 over the United States. Chris Marlowe and Kirk Kilgore with you. Canada won the first 2 games. The Americans battled back, took game 3. This is game 4, and the Americans sluggish once again as Canada turns it on. Big story in the match has been the play of Bruce Edwards for Canada. He has been amazing. He's wearing number 7 in white, and that's going to be a point.
Lynch comes in and with his serve scores a point. Good substitution so far by Fred Sturm.
Kenny Lynch out of Cal State Northridge, played for John Price there, finished 2nd in school history in kills. Nice serve. Greaves back set, and Edwards again.
Well, if you want to see what a linebacker's built like, that's Ken Lynch.
Haldane will serve. 8-5 Canada. That's going to be an ace. Give that a rebound basket ace, Gingera, but the man who set it up, Jason Haldane. Big middle blockers for Canada, not spectacular, but they do their job. They're up there.
Well.
Yeah, serve really well. Remember, it was Haldane who got Canada off to such a great start in game one, really got the Canadians flying. 12-4, Canada outblocking the United States. This is the lowest block total I can ever remember for an American team through 4 games. Dexter Rogers.
I'm right with you. I can't remember one either this low. Even back in our days when we were terrible.
That's right. We got a couple of blocks. Sato sets it left. Kenny Lynch hits it out of bounds. Of course, the Americans playing without their best blocker, Brian Ivey.
Yes.
Who's got an impingement on his shoulder. He's back in San Diego along with Dan Greenbaum as the Americans trying out some new players.
Impingement on his shoulder. I like that.
Impingement, yeah. That means it hurts. Get some treatment, he'll be unimpinged. Here's Edwards, and Edwards has been awesome. How awesome has Edwards been? We're going to tell you after we come back. 10-5, Canada leads the United States here in Massachusetts. For number 7, Bruce Edwards of Canada. In the first match between the two teams, he had 7 kills. He didn't play in the next 2 matches. He's been sitting on the bench for 2/3 of the tour. He comes out today, 27 kills and 9 digs. Into the net goes Rogers. Now 11-5.
It's also the problem with switching players in and out, Chris. You just don't get into any kind of rhythm. You're looking for players, but you give up any kind of rhythm.
Bruce Edwards serving. The Americans down to their last 4 points, now down to their last 3 points. Then a solid match for Canada as they lead 12-5.
Too bad U.S. got a good pass that time. Ball electing to try and tip it, did not work.
Will we try to tip again right now?
I would probably if it was on the net.
Into the net. So Edwards finally makes a mistake.
Of course, Chris, the trouble with that, Fred Sturm looks at it too. You start doing that too much and the hitters say, wait a minute, why'd you hit us? We want to hit the ball.
Canada, a lot more errors, but they're making the United States pay. They've made 10 aces, not a bad ratio, as Canada makes an error there, 12-6.
One of the few errors by Greaves that time, and the hitter should keep that in play. Never really cleared the net. He tried to swing away. It's not going to work.
Volleyball will try to crank it up. He has one of the best jump serves for the Americans.
They need it now.
And it's going to be another point. Duncan Blackman, no! Canada digs it back. Ball back set, Sorensen blocked, it's back over the net. Sanheim, nice set by Greaves.
Moving the ball around very well, going in front of him, behind him, that time middle back.
You go deep, deep. Help me,
Quick set, Haldane puts it away.
They see the balls in the air, especially the blockers are turning around. Good dig again by the Canadians, and they know what to do with it. That's the difference. They're putting away their digs.
13-6 Canada. Rogers dug by Gingera. Cameron, but still an aggressive play by Canada.
Nice set by Chalupka. Sees his back row guy. Doesn't try and set it way back. Puts it up in front of him. Big break for the U.S.
Hitting error.
Really, Chris, the U.S. team right now needs a couple things. They need big serving, and then they need to block some balls behind that serve. They need quick points.
Nygaard can get it. He has an excellent jump serve, but the Americans in big trouble, trailing by 7. Little backslide, Haldane, it's blocked out of bounds.
Well, you just don't see that very often in the men's. One-legged takeoff behind the setter. You see it all the time in the women's game.
Why don't you see that more?
Well, I've talked to both coaches a lot about that. The men get there. They're so strong, they can get there without doing it. It gives the women a chance to move outside faster and stronger. You think it would work for the men, too, but they don't seem to like it.
13-6. Rogers funks it.
Chris, we tried it at Pepperdine when I was there, and found it helped one player, a guy named Mike Fitzgerald, who was a small hitter. But our big guys, they get out there easily. Right. So it's not really important.
Serving is Dwayne Cameron for the United States. 13-6 Canada, 2 points away from wrapping it up. Canada. Haldane gets the kill. You know, it's really been that quick set that has really hurt the Americans from the first play to that last play. The United States has not blocked a quick set the entire match.
Of course, they haven't blocked a lot outside either, so I think that you're right, though. It sort of set the pattern for them. Now the U.S. team not getting outside the block. Good point.
13-6. Lloyd Ball, slam dink. Evaluate Lloyd Ball's performance today.
I think it's been good. I don't think it's been outstanding by any means. I think that his ball drifts a lot in and out. He's just got to learn to get it in. Other than that, I think it's encouraging.
Needs a little more work in the gym. Remember, he's only been there about 2 weeks. Lloyd Ball's really been hampered too, Kirk, because as most volleyball fans know, he broke his finger in the NCAA championship, so he's still wearing some support on his finger, and maybe that's affecting the positioning of his ball.
Well, certainly you don't want your setters to have bad fingers, so you could be right.
And that's down.
Might look for a timeout here, Tommy. A couple quick points for the USA.
See the tape on Lloyd Ball's left finger. That's his broken finger. Okay to play now. And the put away. Nice combination play.
It's sort of expected that nobody's run any today.
13-8 Canada. Ball sets left side, and Rogers careens it. Dexter Rogers with 14 kills. And now here's Sorensen. He's got a good jump serve. Ball is blocked, but it's going out of bounds. Randy Gingera serving. Ace for Gingera.
Well, you can't let that go at 13 when the other team have to pass it.
It's champion point coming up. Randy Gingera said it was a tough year last year in Belgium because they wouldn't let me bring my girlfriend along. He's serving. Ball, nobody there. Canada wins it. So, kind of a downer play for the Americans at the end of game 4 on champion point. Canada evens the series on tour at 2 matches apiece. A very ugly ending.
Well, you're right. This is sort of the way the match went, though. Mistakes by the U.S. team, unforced errors. Canadians a lot steadier. That's why they won. See it again. The serve is tough, but a good pass. He goes up. Broken play. Boy, you can't have that bad play not getting it over the net.
The Rico final match stats. The United States loses the war at the net.
Well, they really do, Chris. Kent Reeves is setter for Canada. Out tricks, if you will. The U.S. team, they didn't block well. That's a difference. The Canadians really played a better match all around. Tougher serving, better digging, and too many errors for the USA.
Rico final match stats. The name to know is Rico.